The origin of the Nephilim. Genesis 6:1-4. The Nephilim are introduced in Genesis 6:1-4, a passage that has intrigued scholars and theologians for centuries due to its mysterious and ambiguous nature. These verses describe a time before the flood when the sons of God and the daughters of men interacted in a way that produced a race of beings known as the Nephilim. 1. The passage in Genesis 6:1-4 says, "When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, 'My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years.'" The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. This passage is brief, but contains several key points that have been interpreted in various ways over time. The term sons of God is central to understanding the origin of the Nephilim. Interpretations of who these sons of God are differ, and this has led to different theological viewpoints. 2. The sons of God interpretation. The term sons of God is traditionally understood in a few different ways. Angelic interpretation. Many scholars in early Jewish traditions, including the Book of Enoch, interpret the sons of God as fallen angels or heavenly beings. According to this view, these angels descended to earth and took human wives, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim. The idea is that these angels, defying God's boundaries, intermarried with human women, creating a hybrid race of giants or mighty beings. This interpretation is supported by other ancient texts and is often seen as the most supernatural reading of the passage. Human interpretation. Another interpretation is that the sons of God refer to the descendants of Seth, Adam's righteous son, and the daughters of men refer to the descendants of Cain in the unrighteous line. In this view, the passage suggests that the righteous line of Seth intermarried with the ungodly line of Cain, which led to moral corruption and wickedness on the earth. This interpretation, while less dramatic than the angelic view, still suggests a divine judgment due to the intermingling of the godly and the ungodly, royal or noble line. Some also suggest that the sons of God could refer to ancient kings or noblemen who claimed divine descent or authority, and the daughters of men were ordinary women. This interpretation focuses on the idea of elite rulers taking wives from common people, leading to a decline in moral and social order. 3. The Nephilim as giants or heroes. The term Nephilim itself is often translated as giants or fallen ones, though the exact meaning is uncertain. In the Genesis passage, it's noted that the Nephilim were present in the days of the sons of God and daughters of men, and were described as heroes of old, but men of renown. This suggests that the Nephilim were known for their strength, stature, and extraordinary abilities. Some translations and interpretations of the text portray them as giants, towering figures who were feared and revered by the people of the time. Others, particularly in the Book of Enoch, further elaborate on the Nephilim's role. According to Enochian tradition, the Nephilim were not just physical giants, but also corruptors of humanity, teaching forbidden knowledge and skills such as magic, weaponry, and astrology, which led to further wickedness on Earth. 4. Theological implications. The story of the Nephilim raises significant theological questions, particularly regarding the boundaries between the divine and the human. If the sons of God are indeed angels, this suggests a profound breach of the natural order, as angels were not intended to interact with humans in such a way. The resulting corruption was so severe that God ultimately decided to send the flood to purge the earth of this wickedness, Genesis 6:5-7. From a moral perspective, the union of the sons of God and daughters of men could symbolize a corruption of divine creation, where the boundaries set by God between the spiritual and the human realm were violated. This interpretation emphasizes how the Nephilim contributed to the increasing wickedness on earth, which led to God's judgment through the flood. Legacy of the Nephilim. While the Nephilim themselves are not directly mentioned again in the Bible, their legacies fell through references to giants later on, such as the Anakim in the Book of Numbers and the Goliath that David faced in 1 Samuel. These giants are often seen as a continuation or remnant of the Nephilim's bloodline. In Jewish traditions, especially in the Book of Enoch, The Nephilim are depicted as the offspring of fallen angels who led to the corruption of humanity. This narrative influenced later Christian and apocryphal writings, where the Nephilim became symbolic of the dangers of spiritual rebellion and moral decay. The Nephilim are often described as giants or mighty beings in ancient texts. In Genesis 6-4, they are referred to as heroes of old, men of renown, suggesting they were known for their extraordinary strength and stature. Their exact nature is debated. Some view them as hybrids born from the union of angels, the sons of God, and humans, the daughters of men, resulting in beings of great power. Others believe they were simply humans of great size or strength, possibly from noble or royal lineages. Regardless of interpretation, the Nephilim are typically associated with corruption and moral decline, playing a role in the events that led to the flood in Genesis. The sin and corruption of the Nephilim. The story of the Nephilim is deeply tied to the theme of sin and corruption in the Bible. According to Genesis 6-1-4, when the sons of God, often interpreted as fallen angels or divine beings, took human wives, they produced the Nephilim, a race of mighty and powerful beings. Their presence on earth coincided with a rise in wickedness and moral decay among humanity. The union of divine beings with humans was seen as a violation of God's established order. This act led to an increase in corruption, both physical and spiritual. The Nephilim, with their strength and influence, were often depicted as teachers of forbidden knowledge, introducing humanity to practices such as magic, warfare, and astrology, which further deepened the moral and spiritual decline. As a result of this corruption, God saw that the earth was filled with violence and wickedness. The Nephilim and their influence were among the key reasons for God's decision to send the flood to cleanse the earth of such evil, marking the ultimate judgment for their sin. The flood was a divine act to eradicate the corruption that the Nephilim and their offspring had spread, signaling a fresh start for humanity. This story serves as a reminder of how unchecked sin and the mixing of divine purity with human corruption can lead to moral and spiritual ruin, something that was addressed by God's judgment in the form of the Great Flood. The flood and the extinction of the Nephilim. As the Nephilim and their corrupting influence spread across the earth, humanity descended into increasing violence and immorality. The sin and wickedness brought on by their presence and the actions of those around them angered God, who saw that the earth had become filled with corruption. In Genesis 6-5-7, God declares that he would wipe out mankind along with every living thing in judgment for their sin. The Nephilim, seen as a key part of this corruption, were part of the reason for God's decision to send the flood. These giants, born of the union of fallen angels and human women, were viewed as beings who defied the natural order and taught forbidden knowledge to humankind, further deepening the moral decay. Their offspring and the influence they had over humanity contributed significantly to the earth's destruction. However, God found one righteous man, Noah, and chose to preserve him and his family. God commanded Noah to build an ark, a vessel that would save his family and representatives of each kind of animal, thus ensuring the survival of life beyond the flood. The Nephilim, along with the corrupt world they had helped shape, were destroyed in the flood. Their lineage was wiped out, leaving no trace of their kind to survive. After the floodwaters receded, Noah and his family began a new life on a cleansed earth. The Nephilim were gone, and their influence on humanity was erased, symbolizing a divine reset. The flood served as a judgment for sin, purging the earth of its corruption and marking a fresh start for humanity, free from the dominance of the Nephilim and their descendants. This was another video. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like. Until next time,